Hi, a very, very good morning to you. This is the last episode of the daily News Behind the News podcast. News Behind the News survives, but in a new format from next Saturday will be available at this time itself, but it'll be a weekly format rather than a daily format. And thanks for coming today, and I look forward to seeing you next Saturday as well. The idea is to give our viewers a better perspective of not news as they happen, but news as a trend. And today my co-anchors are Katya, Hussaina, and Saloni. Welcome to all of you. It's good to have you here with us. And my co-anchors are going to discuss some very interesting titles, which can be seen on the screen before you. The titles are the Tata Trust episode, how they're affecting market valuations. The second story is equally interesting about the UK-India trade deal. And the third one is a new combination of players, NPCI, as well as Razorpay and OpenAI have all joined hands to create new market initiatives. All the three are very, very important, both to the markets and the Indian economy. Let's take the first story first. And Katya, could we have you?
It involves the largest, one of the largest conglomerates of the country. So they have a myriad of companies under them, but there is some, we cannot call them governance problem as such, but there is friction within the board which is affecting shareholder value. Just to give a sense, Tata Trust owns 60% in Tata Sons, and Tata Sons is the holding company of all the Tata companies, Motors, TCS, etc., etc. So now, where the friction comes is with the appointment. Who is the board nominee that Tata Trust can appoint on Tata Sons is what the bone of contention is. This is the second board member that they are having an issue with. The first board member, the first board issue was done. So the board is actually broken in half. Noel Tata heads, Tata Trust, and Tata Sons is head by N. Chandrasekaran. So there are a lot of these issues so much, so the government had to call them and ask them to fix their problems. These were also the reports which have come, though they are unconfirmed from the company itself. Now they're going to meet on October 10th. We are hoping for some resolution of it because it started to affect so a lot. It's been a year since Ratan Tata has passed away, and ever since since then a lot of Tata Group companies have lost 15% of their value. Now we cannot attribute all of it to this issue. In fact, we TCS, it's diamond on the crown, has lost a lot of value because of market issues, and JLR problems have hit Tata Motors. So those are the issues to be considered, but there is a lot of worry amongst investors. So if you see Tata Capital, which is a very large IPO, did not see too much of retail interest. It was only subscribed 1.1 times. So it is actually going to affect the company unless this fix the problem. What do you think, sir? You think what can we do? We've seen it in the Hikal and Baba Kalyani family issue also. When people within the board fight, it's the shareholders, minority shareholders who suffer.
Very true. And this issue should have been resolved decades ago. But for some reason or the other, these rifts have kept on reappearing. And how the trust should govern itself, what are the rules, who should be the members, who should be the trustees, have not really been spelled out very clearly. Maybe
Right.
it's time we needed to articulate that and get this settled once and for all. Yes, you're right. It's a very important trust because the group itself is perhaps one of uh, the most talked about group in the whole of the country.
Right.
Anyway, let's see what happens. But thanks, Katya, for raising this issue. And that takes us to the second story. And the second story, the UK-India FTA deal. Oh, Hussaina, could you come in?
Yes, sir. So the recent strategic agreements between India and the UK go beyond symbolic diplomacy. They reflect a mutual recalibration of geopolitical priorities. But the question that arises, sir, is how relevant is this partnership for India as well as UK? So if we talk about India, this deal is about diversifying strategic dependencies. Historically, we are reliant on Russia and the US for defense supplies. And India is now expanding its network. So a $468 million missile deal and joint work on electric naval propulsion signals a long-term defense alignment with the UK, one that supports India's push for indigenous modernization without being isolated from global tech. Equally important, I think, sir, is the focus on critical minerals. Because these rare earths power everything from electric vehicles to semiconductors. And we all know that China is dominating supply chains and India is looking to de risk its future. The creation of a critical minerals industry guild and now R&D centers with UK collaboration again helps India to position itself as a serious player in the global energy transition. Education was another important area of which was discussed. So, with 9 UK universities planning to set up their campuses in India, the country transforms from just a talent exporter to global education hub, which again I think will strengthen domestic research and again offer an international standard education without the brain drain. But again, if we say that it's just one-sided treaty or agreement, that would be wrong because post Brexit, the UK needs new allies and markets, and India is the world's fastest-growing major economy, which is offering them both. And with the CETA trade agreement signed in July, the UK gets access to a massive consumer base and an innovation-driven market. In fact, the UK has already secured 64 investment projects in India worth $1.3 billion, and they are planning to create nearly 7,000 jobs back home, showing that this partnership isn't charity but again geopolitical strategy. Also, I think so the deal also helps UK assert relevance in the Indo-Pacific because a region which is increasingly shaped by China's rise. And partnering with India allows the UK to remain a stakeholder in regional security, especially with the Russia India China corridor coming into place. So, in short, this is not a one sided deal. What do you think about it, sir?
Well, there are some people who say the UK FTA deal, the UK India FTA deal, is remarkably good for India. I can see one major benefit that India gets, that is we can export our textiles into the UK. We've not no, nobody's compared the UK deal with the EU deal and with the deals that we have with Australia and with the UAE. But there are some things that raise many concerns about any deal with the UK. The UK has never really invested in India. It's a trader country. It wants to buy and sell. As far as defense technology to India is concerned, the UK is a worrisome area. Remember the Western helicopter deal that they persuaded Indira Gandhi to purchase for India? When India was reluctant, they gave it almost as a gift at practically no payment. After it arrived in India, the cost of repairs were even more expensive than the original cost of the plane, of the helicopters itself. Within a few years, the helicopters had been scrapped. Plus, remember, India's gold has not been returned to India as yet. Only part of the gold has been transferred to India. The remaining gold still remains with the UK. Why? I don't know. There are things about this FTA that are not clear to the normal person, and the government needs to come out very clearly why is this happening. But yes, it's an important development, perhaps the most high profile one, with the Prime Minister and Starmer sitting outside on the lawns. It's not happened with other FTAs. So, yes, it is a high profile FTA, but whether it merits that kind of importance, I do not know yet. Thanks, Susanna. And that takes us to the third story, which is about NPCI, which is a market, which is a gateway to all UPI transactions and the regulator in a way, has tied up with Razorpay and OpenAI to create new market initiatives for India. Come in, Saloni.
Yes, sir. So, National Payments Corporation of India (NPCI), Razorpay, and OpenAI are working towards launching agentic payments on ChatGPT and exploring AI-driven commerce at a national scale. Currently, in the pilot stage, this will enable intelligent, conversational, and seamless digital payments. The face of online shopping is evolving rapidly. Today, users are already discovering products and services through AI assistants like ChatGPT. They're exploring options, comparing prices, planning purchases, and much more. all within a conversational flow. So agentic payments will bring in a seamless way to complete the transaction without leaving the AI environment. Powered by Razorpay's banking partners and built on UPI innovations such as UPI Circle and UPI Razorpay, the initiative delivers seamless UPI transactions for AI native shopping. As a part of this initiative, Razorpay, NPCI, and OpenAI will explore AI-based payment use cases, including personalized and secure AI commerce through conversational shopping and checkout experience. CEO and co-founder of Razorpay, Harshal Mathur said, "With agentic payments, we are transforming AI assistants from simple discovery tools into full-fledged shopping agents." According to him, for the first time in India, every buyer can have a personal shopping assistant not that not only finds the best product at the perfect price, but also completes the entire purchase journey seamlessly. This is India's very own UPI integrated conversational payment experience powered by Razorpay and built on innovations like UPI Circle and UPI Reserve. He also said that this will bring world-class AI capabilities to Indian consumers in a truly first-of-its-kind experience in the country. So, what do you think about this?
There comes a marketplace is interesting. But when you when UPI when NPCI decides to link UPI with Razorpay, I do not know whether it lead to charges of favoritism, because UPI enjoys one big advantage that nobody else has in the market, and that is it is offered free of cost without merchant discounts that credit cards and debit cards ask the merchants to pay. Its popularity is because merchants don't have to pay anything. It's a freebie. And it's convenient, of course. But when you start picking up players and have special alliances with them, it could open a huge Pandora's box of affiliations, biases, and relationships. But overall, it's a good thing that's happened, because the markets will see new products coming up, new facilities coming up, and new customer friendly initiatives. Anyway, uh, that was good, and that takes me to the end of today's session. But before I go on to taking up the questions and comments, just a reminder, please click the subscribe button, please click the like button, and tell your friends about us, not only for the daily podcast, which is ending today, but also for the weekly podcast, the weekly news behind the news that begins from next Saturday. And yes, let's take the comments. The first comment is on the markets. Can the markets not look at companies individually without the trusts? Katya, what do you think?
It can look at companies if they're individual only, sir, but look at the complicated way in which these companies are owned. So
Yes.
there is a holding company which has substantial stake in each of the many companies, from Tata Salt to Tata Tea, or the Tata Consumer, etc., and Motors, etc. And then Tata Sons is also not an independent company. It is a holding company which Tata Trust has a lot of stake in it, 60% stake. So it's effectively the majority owner. So why can't the boards merge? There should be some deal that has to be done. But this, like you said, it's a very age-old deal which was done. There's so many amendments have to be redone for it to actually be in a much smoother manner, where people can directly say, if you sit on the board, you can decide who the board members are, you can vote. But what about trust voting for Tata Sons and Tata Sons voting for the trust? It's a very jumbled manner. It was working fine until they had Mr. Tata, Ratan Tata there. But with that kind of leadership gone, there is a lot of friction, and it's not good for the company. It's not good for the country, and the many employees who work there. They have a large workforce.
Very true. In fact, one of our viewers asks whether there's corruption here. I don't think there's corruption. It's just a matter that they've not resolved uh, legal issues that surround trusts and holding companies.
Right. And it doesn't have to be corruption for companies to go down. These kind of issues can also take down companies.
Correct.
Like we've seen in the Baba Kalyani Hikal case, the board members are fighting, and then it's been here, there, and everywhere. Company cannot progress further if the board is there's a lot of board infighting, and this is
Exactly.
quasi board infighting. Trust to sans to sans
Exactly,
to.
exactly. It's a little frightening, and that takes us to the second question, which has already come in, and that is, if the UK FTA isn't beneficial for India, then why is India uh, lawyer promoting it? Well, India has some relationship with the UK, which are beyond what is visible to the naked eye. And why would we keep our gold with the UK for 70 years? At a time when Italy and Germany are asking the gold back from the US. And UK is one of the parties that is willing to impound the money that Russia has put in its banks, when it's willing to violate every financial norm. How can you trust any country with your gold? India should be looking after its own gold. The fact that India has allowed the UK to keep India's gold, and after there was a furor, they allowed some of the gold to come back to India, but some of it still remains there. Why? So there are questions. The Western Defense Deal, which nobody likes us to remember, is something that rankles. So there are many issues that are there. And do remember that UK is on its last legs financially. Except for US bailouts, it is the sick man of Europe. So obviously they need India, but India has to be careful that is not part of cozy deals that we've seen in the past. Until today, the gold has not been returned to India, which is a worrisome thing. And that takes me to the third question about Razorpay and AI. What do you think about this such an arrangement? Well, it's a good arrangement. Just imagine a customer wants to buy something and AI tells him that this same product is available at different prices. He has a better choice. And if Razorpay is there, and somehow both NPCI and Razorpay using AI can also guarantee the payment and delivery of goods, that would be even better. It's a customer friendly move initially, apparently. Let's see how it goes along. But India needs more customer friendly methods of transacting trades where he's not shortchanged on the one hand and is guaranteed delivery of a product that is good and exciting. And that takes me to the end of today's session. Thanks for being with us all this while. And while this daily podcast ends, News Behind the News will survive and will thrive as a weekly format. And I would like you to watch it next Saturday and continue being loyal to this channel. And tell your friends about us. It helps us. As for today, have a great day. And there's a long weekend. Enjoy your weekend. May everything work out the way you want it.